During the NRM parliamentary retreat, Anita Among fired salvos towards Norbert MAO. We all know these two are top contenders for the speakership race. And for me, it was just a matter of time to see that they are being split up. Anita Among said these statements to Norbert MAO.
We do cooperate with different political parties, but the cooperation does not mean that if we are cooperating, you come up to my bedroom. Okay? You remain in the compound. You don't come up to the bedroom. And I am saying, you don't come to the bedroom. The bedroom this time around is the speakership. You cannot cooperate to the tune of the speakership. So in that case,
that is Anita Among. The statements of Anita Among show that she is not sure that she's going to be speaker. In fact, those were statements of a coward. They were statements of uncertainty. Because when, truth be told, Anita Among is the worst speaker to ever been in the August House. It is the reasons as to why there is a lot of fight for the speakership race, which is not the case for the deputy speakership. Even members of parliament see that their head does not match the office. You clearly see the contenders on the deputy speaker are not sounding like it is on the speakership race. In fact, after Anita Among telling Norbert MAO that there is a cooperation but he must not aim for the speakership, Norbert MAO retaliated and said these statements.
I was actually shocked to see the holder of such a dignified office going to the gutters. First and foremost, I'm a guest of the national chairman of the NRM. I'm not an intruder. True, I don't belong to the NRM, but we have got a written cooperation agreement. Now, to make a statement that for Norbert MAO, who is a leader of the Democratic Party and who is the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs of the Republic of Uganda, to aspire to be Speaker of Parliament amounts to intruding or trespassing in the NRM bedroom. Surely, that is beneath the dignity of someone who holds the high office of Speaker. It is important to know that there are qualifications for Speaker of Parliament, and they have all the qualifications. But to be elected, you need the support of the majority of the members of Parliament, and the NRM has the majority. My only case is I should be on the short list. I should be vetted like any other aspirant. After all, I already sit in the cabinet, where I also sit by invitation, by appointment of the president. Now, that was not only bad politics, it was bad manners.
That is Norbert MAO. So you clearly see that Norbert MAO is fighting a solitary fight. For him to come out to say that it is bad manners, indeed, Anita Among orchestrated bad manners, but he's fighting for space. He did it in a wrong way. But also questions should arise. What if Genome 7 is setting up Norbert MAO to be taken on? It is the truth. Because sometimes you can go in a family and the father sets his children to chase you away. It is very possible. Or sometimes it can be true when the children are misbehaving. So, the purpose of this video, I've come to talk about the altercation which was between Norbert MAO and Anita Among, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the study materials we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're into this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagali. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. One, what I agree is the August House under Anita Among has been a mess. Rampant corruption, okay, poor administration, poor presiding over the house, bad manners, they were all encountered in Anita Among's regime. In fact, there is a difference when Anita Among is presiding over house and his deputy. Anita Among presided over the house with emotions, ego, etc., including interjecting members of parliament when they are speaking. It was the worst mistake to ever happen to August House. Although I accept that as we stand right now, there might not be a good contender to take her on. And here is the reason. One, if indeed Norbert Mao wanted to become speaker, the best advice was to join NRM, because I don't think in the hearts of hearts that the speakership can be given to another political party, most especially a political party that lacks influence. One day I saw Norbert Mao stating that he was the one scattering the votes of General Kakutani in Northern Region, which is false. In 2021, with all matters constant, Genome 7 won the Northern Region. It is the truth. Even when Norbert Mao ran as president, the Northern Region was won by Museveni, followed by Bobi Wine. So it is not true that Norbert Mao has influence in the Northern Region. What I agree with, Norbert Mao could be a better speaker than Anita Among. Could be, if given a chance, based on a track record. It is the truth. But I don't think that he's going to be given the position. And he should also desist from stamping that is the reason why Genome 7 won the Northern Region. We all know that Genome 7 won because of the rudimentary policies, jailing opposition, beating competitors, blocking people from campaigning. Not any person campaigning for him. It's the same mistake Anita Among is doing, that he campaigned for General Kaguta Museveni as a SEC member. No. Genome 7 would have won the election if he uses the same rudimentary election of stealing, beating, jailing opposition, which is, by the way, unconstitutional. So for me, I think, one, Norbert Mao is fighting a solitary fight. His political party, DP, disowned him from Vice President, Secretary General, etc. His members of parliament in DP, the 5 members, nobody supports him. So it's a solitary fight. In fact, Norbert Mao continued to say this.
The head of the family knows who invites. Actually, when I was young, there are many times I was forced to leave my bed for visitors. Yet I was the child of the home. In our society, guests are highly respected. And anybody who insults a guest insults the host. So anybody who insults me, who has been invited by the president, who is also the national chairman of the NRM, is basically insulting the president of Uganda. I'm not an intruder. Worse still, I was supposed to speak. But I don't mind that my name has been removed. I understand Andrew Mwenda's name was also removed, and a few other people. I really don't mind. I have many platforms. But this is a time-bound contest. And after the contest, we need each other to build our country. So I totally object to that kind of approach. That is beneath me. And that's why in my social media post, I responded by saying, you know, this is not just bad politics, it's bad manners. And I'm a guest of the national chairman on invitation. And anybody who insults me has insulted the person who has invited me. But more importantly, she also knows where she came from. I think you would say that at least me, I'm a guest. Now, what about a refugee? There's a difference between a guest and a refugee. But for now, that's all I really want to say. Let us keep this thing clean. After all, the rules even forbid campaigning. What the rules encourage us to do is just to speak about our qualifications, which I have. But it is up to the head of the household. It is the father who knows his children. It is not another child who tells the father that these are our children or these are not our children. Who are you to tell your father who your brothers and sisters are? It is your father to tell you that this is your brother or this is your sister. So definitely that statement was beneath someone who holds such a high office. Extremely undignified, uncalled for, really gutter politics.
That is Norbert Mao. So it is true that Anita Among exhibited bad manners and is the worst Speaker of Parliament to ever happen. But I also think General Museveni, how he does politics, he normally wants to use leaders who have that in their hands so that it can be used against them. A speaker who is sanctioned by the outside community, a speaker who has corruption cases and allegations in his bedroom, can be easily used by General Kaguta Museveni to pass anything. I'm not saying that nothing will pass since NRM has the majority. But a person like Kadaga used to question a lot of things. In fact, there is a day General Museveni came out to say that Rebecca Kadaga used to give him a lot of headache. Not that he couldn't pass everything that General Museveni wanted, but he used to question. But a person who has corruption allegation cases, it is like Anita Among, he will easily pass anything in Parliament, like he has used to be. In fact, it was so shameful for a Speaker of Parliament to come out and announce that anything that is wanted by General Kaguta Museveni will pass in Parliament. Even if it is the case, you don't come out to announce. So the best person to take the Parliament to General Kaguta Museveni so that he can push that on it is going to be Anita Among. And I won't be surprised if she is retained, because General Kaguta Museveni doesn't bother about competence and service delivery. All he bothers is loyalty, even if it is fake loyalty. And Anita Among knows how to do that. So in a nutshell, Anita Among exhibited bad manners. But also, Norbert Mao knows. And I think he's negotiating for a cabinet slot, which is going to get. Waving around the cooperation agreement, the cooperation expired in 2026. In each and every election cycles, politicians do another cooperation. There's a day Norbert Mao came out to say that the Speaker of Parliament in Kenya is from another party, which is right, but they did a cooperation agreement before the election. And it's going to expire. So as they are going to the 2017 election, they are going to do another cooperation. Norbert Mao knows that he is speaking as the Justice Minister, not because he has a lot of competence in General Kaguta Museveni, because Museveni doesn't value competence, but it is a sign that opposition is being taken away as General Museveni swore. And even the new cabinet, I may not be surprised that there will be very many opposition members. Not that they can bring something on table in General Kaguta Museveni government, but because he wants to show the public that the opposition was subjugated. Of course, it's my opinion. My name is truly Mr. Makindi, Kabir Suleiman Magal. If you're into this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.